So here's part one of my example on animal project, talking about levels of organization in multicellular organisms. I chose the rusty-patched bumblebee, also known as Bombus affinis, its scientific name. So why did I pick this animal? Well, you weren't necessarily asked to tell me about this, but I'm always curious, and it does make a presentation more interesting if someone understands why. So I picked the rusty-patched bumblebee for a number of reasons. Last summer I took a class called Pollinators in the Science Classroom at the University of Minnesota, and I learned more about the importance of pollinators than I knew. I think in my brain we think of honeybees, and there were so many more kinds of bees that I never knew were in existence. So it challenged my thinking and understanding, but also learned that most of our native bees are actually on the decline. They're not doing as well as they should be, and that means pollination might be in jeopardy for so many of our crops that need pollination. I learned that Minnesota has a state bee called the rusty-patched bumblebee, which also happens to be endangered. For projects like this in class, most students pick mammals or other vertebrates, and I wanted to pick something different, so I chose an invertebrate, and I focused in on this specific one, rusty-patched bumblebee. So how are rusty-patched bumblebees put together? What special organs and organ systems work to keep them alive? Well, we could start by looking at the outside and figuring out why they're even considered bees in the first place. What makes them insects? So like all insects, the bumblebees have three main body parts: a head, thorax, and abdomen. And so the head has the mouth features and eyes and antenna sometimes. And the thorax is the middle of the body that has legs attached to it. It's the muscular section of the body. And then the abdomen would be the third segment, containing most of the digestive organs and most of the reproductive organs. In the case of the bumblebee, and what makes a bumblebee as opposed to another type of insect, it is a thicker body, both abdomen and thorax. It's usually covered in hair-like structures or fuzz on the abdomen, thorax, and head. They don't really have a pointy end to their abdomen like a lot of other Hymenoptera, which would be the order of bees and ants. They do have a stinger, though, underneath that fuzz. They have two pair of wings, a front pair and a back pair. They have compound eyes, two compound eyes, and three ocelli, which are on the front of their head. And we'll see a picture in a minute. They have antenna. They have a long feather-like tongue. There's a good picture of their face, showing their big compound eyes on the side. And then three little ocelli, which are simpler eye-like structures on their face. You can see the antenna there. And down lower, you can see the mandibles, or the mouth parts that move side to side. What's also kind of neat about bumblebees, their coloration is often yellow and black, associated with other bees, but sometimes you can have orange or red or brown coloration as part of their mix, or even a little bit of white. And on the females, on one pair of their legs, they have hairs that are shaped in a way that allow them to collect pollen. They're called pollen sacs. So the rusty-patched bumblebee is noted by the middle of its thorax having this little black spot between the wings, and then a little bit of a black V underneath that larger black spot in the middle. And then the second segment on its abdomen, there's a yellow segment, yellow colored fuzz, which is common to a lot of species of bumblebees, but the rusty patch has that rusty section within there too, and makes it a little bit unique. Internally, what makes a bumblebee a bumblebee? Well, much like you, they have to solve problems as a multicellular organism by having organ systems. These are just 6 of the important organ systems in the rusty-patched bumblebee: digestive, circulatory, respiratory, nervous, skeletal, and muscular. This diagram highlights the fact that they have multiple hearts. They have a nerve cord that goes along the belly instead of the back, like on us. You can see that in purple. They have a digestive system starting from their mouth and going out to their anus where they poop, and organs in between, shown in yellow. They have a respiratory system that's a little simpler than ours, which you can see in blue on this diagram. So if we take a moment to think about, well, what do these systems do generally for the rusty-patched bumblebee? Well, it's not all that different than what happens in us. The digestive system breaks down food, helps get nutrients for circulating to all the body's cells. It helps transport that digestive nutrients through the circulatory system. What's interesting is it transports food nutrients and hormones, but it does not transport oxygen like our blood. It's a little bit different. The respiratory system is similar in that it takes in oxygen gas and releases carbon dioxide gas, but they don't have lungs. Their nervous system, much like ours, is about communication network of throughout the entire body to sense its environment, both internally and externally, and then respond to whatever information is coming in as part of overall homeostasis in that animal. They have a skeleton that is on the outside called an exoskeleton. It's like yours, sturdy, supportive, protective. It's protecting internal organs and assisting with movement because it too attaches with its muscles and helps move other stuff. Assisting with movement of the bee, but can also assist with movement of stuff through the bee. And finally, the muscular system is a set of muscles that attach on the inside of that exoskeleton, and when they contract, they cause movement of the legs and the body and the antenna and all those other features that move on the insect. The muscular system is doing that. It also has, of course, a heart, and so that is going to be muscles as well. That is going to be pumping the blood that is found within the rusty-patched bumblebee. So this is an overview of some of the major organ systems found in rusty-patched bumblebees and their general functions. And for the next part of the project presentation, we will go a little more in depth and explore one particular organ system. But that will be for another segment. As you look to compile resources, make sure that you're tracking your references so that you can keep tabs on that and add that at the end of your slideshow. So I'm not done here, but this is as far as I've gotten so far. Hopefully it helps give you some ideas on how you might present and share some of the starting information from your rubric.